year, more than 1.5 million women in the United States undergo a breast biopsy to determine if abnormal cells are healthy or not. But a new study found that these biopsies are leaving serious room for doubt. Here to explain all of this, Dr. Marc Siegel of the Fox News Medical A-Team. So, Doctor, am I understanding this correctly? When it comes to spotting cancer, the pathologists are right a great deal of time. They can see when it's cancer or not. But when it's something in between, when it might be suspicious tissue, then that drops to half in terms of accuracy rates. 50% of the time, they don't get it right?
Absolutely right, Elizabeth. 50% of the time, if it's precancerous or atypical, they're not getting it right. They looked at 115 pathologists around the country and compared them to 3 top experts, and there wasn't agreement on this suspicious tissue. And here's how this works out in the doctor's office. If you have a mass on a mammogram, which ends up being 20% of breast biopsies end up being cancer, 20%. If you have a very suspicious looking mammogram and you end up getting a biopsy, they're probably going to get it right. But if some mammographer or your gynecologist or your internist says, you know, there's something there that's a little suspicious, we don't know what that is, we're not sure, let's do a biopsy to make sure, that's the time when you better make sure that you have a top person interpreting it. That's when they'll get it right, or a second opinion. You have to get the top people involved in the cases on the gray area.
This is disconcerting because a lot of women, when they go for the mammograms and they get pointed to a biopsy, they actually feel like they're one step closer to getting some clear information. But in this case, you could get it 50% wrong. How scary is this? What do we do?
That is really problematic. This points out that medicine is an art. That, you know, when it comes to breast exams, you have to know the right way to do them. You have to go to the top mammographer. Then you have to go to the top person doing the biopsy so they get the right tissue. And then you have to have a very good pathologist involved. I am not concluding, by the way, that you shouldn't have a breast biopsy, because if 20% of the time it proves cancer, you don't want to say, oh, those don't work.
You don't want to miss that.
Right. Look at that article. I don't want to do that. You have to be considering this when there's a suspicion. But the top artists in the field have to be doing it.
Okay, it's a great way to really shift perspective on who we're going to, of course. Goodness, Dr. Siegel, thank you for this information.
Very important. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Of course, and still go get those tests, both of them.
Absolutely.
If they're recommended.